So far we discussed what is the background of Java, which means what is happening behind the screen, and what is JVM, and what is JDK, and what is JRE. And we did discuss about the architecture of a JVM, and then what a JRE contains and what a JDK contains. And after that, we kind of had our first Java program, which is nothing but our Hello World program. And we did discuss about, let me open this slide. So this is our simple Java program. But in last class, we discussed what is each and every element from this particular program. So what is class and what is hello world, and why we need to have a public static void main, and the executable class and non-executable class. You remember what is executable class and what is non-executable class?
Yes.
Okay. So
yeah, the executable class is something that we can execute, and non-executable class is something that won't like that we're not able to actually execute because of
you don't have to go that far. Okay, so if somebody is asking what is executable program and what is non-executable, you can simply say a program contains main method which is executable. Method, if it doesn't have a main method, which means you cannot executable.
It'll be just errors.
Exactly. Maybe I can show you something as well. So here I'm gonna remove this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create one more class test. So here what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna simply add this method. X and control V. So I saved this class file as hello world.java, right? So let me go to the terminal and I'll show you. Okay, so ls sorry. So how many files we have so far? One Java file and one bytecode, which is nothing but our class file. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna compile successfully now. See how many files are there?
3.
Why is the 3 files? We have only hello world.java, right? But why we have 2 different classes over there?
I don't know.
Okay, the point is, it doesn't matter how many files are there. What matter is how many classes are there. Okay, so if you take a look at this particular program, I have a hello world.
You have a main and then you have a test. So you have 2 classes, so that's why we have 3 files.
Yes, exactly. Even though this entire thing belongs to the same file, but still they are considered as a separate files after you compile, because compilation happen on top of the class. How many classes we have here? We have 2 classes. So obviously it will compile 2 classes and it will create 2 different classes. Okay. Now here's the interesting thing. Let me try to execute hello world. What do you think is going to happen? Just give it a try.
I mean, it would just execute the main method.
So what will be the output then?
The hello world dot class.
Or just a hi.
It will be just hi exclamation.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So what if I want to run the test class? How can I run that?
I think we have to run it with the name
Java
of the class.
That's it. So the execution is common for all the classes, or the difference is one is the class name. So now see what's going to happen. What happened here?
It won't execute because there's no main method in it.
Exactly. That is the point I'm trying to bring here. So the class which doesn't have any main method, it cannot be executed.
Yeah.
So if you want to execute any Java class, make sure you have main method in it. Oh, that is where the concept comes, executable and non-executable. Okay. So what I can do is I'm going to do the same thing here. Sorry. The main method here as well. And then this
AJ, actually, I'm like following everything up. It's good. I'm understanding everything. The only thing that's not clear at this point to me is like writing everything, like how you write, how you put all the symbols and everything. That's still not clear to me. Like, why are we doing that? I know we have not gotten to that point, but
Exactly.
I'm just
See,
telling you.
that is a point. See, what I'm trying to do right now, I'm trying to explain a program because I haven't taught you what is the basics.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I just want you to know so that, I mean,
I get it.
I'm
I get it. We will
yeah.
come. We'll come there. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm following
once,
everything up pretty good. Like,
Mhm.
I always ask questions. So, I mean, I like how you teach. You're a pretty good teacher, I can tell. And yeah, I'm understanding everything.
Okay, so I understand your point, Hanur. Okay, so we are really discussing a lot of points here. I'm just giving you the points. I'm not asking you to
Yeah.
learn here in this point because you might be wondering, hey, he's writing something publicly wide when creating methods and he's really executing it. And what is happening? How do I do it? Because I haven't thought about it. I mean, I haven't explained that how it has to be done because that has to
Yeah.
be done step by step. First, you need to know how to create a class. Now, you know
Uh,
how to create a class, right?
yep.
Okay, but do you know what are the rules and conditions need to be applied when you create a class?
No, I mean, for now,
Yes.
I just know that everything
No,
should be
but
in the
the
curly
answer is no.
brackets.
Answer is no because I did not explain
Yeah.
that to you. Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll go one by one. You will know it.
Okay.
I get your point. Okay, so now
Okay.
I just added another main method here, and now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go back to my class again, and I'm gonna compile it one more time. And now I'm trying to execute. See what happened now? Now I'm able to execute the test class as well because it has a main method in it.
Yeah.
Okay, so now there might be another question. Okay, so let's say I don't have a main method here, but how can I access this method? Okay, it is a static method, right?
Yeah.
So static method can be accessed through the class. Don't worry about that. I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it, but I'll explain in a bit later how it will be actually happening in the background. So test dot add. So now see what's going to happen. I'll hit. See now I got the high. At the same time, I got the high from add method. Okay.
Uh-huh.
So now you tell me what is happening here because I don't have any main method here, but why I can see the high from add method, which is coming from class test.
I don't know.
Okay. The thing is, what I'm trying to do is I have an entry point in the hello world, which is an executable class. I have a main method. So what I'm trying to do is here, I'm trying to call another class here.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody has a mobile, everybody has a different number. So all you're trying to do is you're trying to make a call to a different number. That's what I'm doing it here.
Okay.
Okay. And I'm using a class to call the method. And that is also, we'll talk about that, why I'm using a class. Okay. And there are some other thing as well. If it is a non-static method, how do you call it? There are a lot of things we have to study even further. It will eventually come up. Okay. So now let's learn the rules and regulations. Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, we know how to create a class, right? But when you create a class, there are some standard needs to be followed. Okay, this is very important. The standards are mandatory because let me tell you something. You're a Java programmer, okay? And let's say I am creating some examples like this. Create something here. So I'm creating a class called hello world. This will still work. There is no issue with the class at all. Let's say this is a program which you written and you left the company. Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody else will come and join the same project and they will look at the code, right? You know what is the first impression? The first impression will be he thinks like whoever coded this program, he's just a bullshit programmer. The reason he did not follow any standards. It's not a rule. Standard is different, rules is different. If you break the rule, it will not work. But standard means it will still work, but you have to follow certain standards to become a proper programmer.
Sure.
Okay. So the way what I'm trying to explain, right? When you're writing a class, the name has to be follow some standards, which means the first letter of a class name always started with the capital letter. Okay. And then, so how many words are there in the hello world?
How many words?
If you split,
Two.
it contains two words.
Yeah.
So each and every word, it starts with the capital letter hello world. If I'm adding something like program, here also the P has to be capital letter hello world program. So the point is, when you're creating a class, it must be started with a capital letter, and all the consecutive following words also should be capital letter.
Okay.
Okay. So that was the first point here. Class name should be noun. It's a meaningful name.
And then whenever we name the class, there should be a space, right?
That's what I'm
saying. Okay.
Okay. So mixed case with the first letter of each internal word capitalized. That's what we discussed now. Each and every word must start out with the capital letter.
Yeah.
And another important thing, cannot start with numbers.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say here, okay, so I have something like more. Or I can simply say that SIM card. This is my class. Okay. Can you name a class 1 SIM card?
No.
Does it make sense?
No.
Let's not talk about the programming stuff, just a generic talk. Okay. Let's say your mom has multiple numbers, 2 SIM cards, right? So how do you save your mom's number? Normally you'll save your mom's number as a mom. That's it. As simple as that. So if you have a 2 numbers, you'll simply say mom 1 and mom 2. But do you do this, like, instead of doing that, do you try this 1 mom, 2 mom? Which one makes sense?
The first one, the mom 1 and mom 2. Yeah.
Because it's a proper noun. That's the first point. Class name should be a noun. But if it starts with a number, it doesn't make any sense at all. See, whatever the standards that we are following, you can see it's all naming standards. That's all. How you can name a class. Okay. If you don't know how to answer the question, you can think about a person. So how do you name a person? It has to have a meaning for his name, right? That is the first thumb rule, which is a noun, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And the name cannot start with a number. Normally, human beings never do that unless if it is the exception scenario, like the Elon Musk. You know the way how he named his kids, right?
Yeah.
So we are not that guy. So normally the people, when they name it, it will start with the proper noun.
I think they actually canceled his kid's name. The whatever the local authorities were. So he actually changed his kid's name.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, all I know is he just named his daughter with his the latest project.
The Alpha or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, right. That's right. No, that the latest kid. Okay, he named something like YMC2A2. Yeah, I really don't know.
I actually like that guy. Okay, it's off topic, but yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, so that's a simple scenario. So name has to be meaningful one, and letter has to be started with a capital letter and cannot start with the numbers. Okay, you were saying like, why can't we use a SIM space card?
No, I was asking between the class and the class name.
Of course.
Like that, yeah.
If you have a space, then only the class becomes a keyword. But if you remove the space, it's not a keyword at all. It's just a name.
It makes sense.
Okay. So let's say here I have hello world. So do you think it will work?
No.
Class name must not contain any special characters. There are only few characters are allowed, which is the underscore and the dollar symbol, which means you can have hello underscore world or hello dollar world. So these two can be used, or you can use underscore hello world also. That is also possible. And you can try this as well. This dollar. This is also will work. Okay. So special characters are not allowed. Only 2 characters are allowed, and 2 are underscore and the dollar symbol, right? Just keep that in mind. Okay, got it? You there?
Yep, just the dollar sign and underscore.
Okay, and have you thought about why only these two are allowed? Obviously, that will come to your mind, right?
Yeah, I mean,
That-
I think that because the underscore, it kind of serves as a purpose for the space, and I don't know about the dollar sign.
No. I mean,
I don't know.
as I said, always I never talked about any programming stuff. I'll always generic talk. Okay.
Okay.
The reason, let's say, plus, it's also a special character, right? It's not a character at all. It's just a special character. And question mark, that is also a special character. And that is also a special characters. And and at, exclamatory. These are all special characters. But when we have these many special characters, only these two are allowed. The reason behind it, only these two special characters doesn't have any dedicated job.
Sure.
Okay, they are like unemployees. Whoever wants,
Sure.
they can use it. But do you think plus it doesn't have any dedicated operation?
Mhm.
It does have a dedicated operation.
Yeah,
When you
it's-
want to
it's-
add two numbers,
But it is used for addition.
plus must be used there. So the reason why, because in interviews there might be people who ask, okay, what are the special characters you can use? But even after you said only underscore and dollar, they will follow up with this other question. Why do you think only those two special characters allowed? And the reason behind it, it's pretty simple. Okay, because the underscore and dollar symbol, they don't have any dedicated job. That's it. Mhm. Okay, so now before today's session, you know how to create a class, right?
Yeah.
But now what do you know? You know how to name a class.
Yep.
Okay, that is how we will go on. Okay, so the next
Hey,
thing.
I was just I had a question. What should I download so that like when you are typing or you are putting class names and stuff, like I can do it like on with you.
You're using Windows, right?
Yeah.
You can use Notepad++.
Oh yeah. So I actually had the notepad open and then I was typing in the class, but it's like it's not coming in like how it's supposed to be. But
Okay,
it's like
can-
under
one
normal
second.
text file.
Let me make you as a presenter. Just share. I'll let you. I'll tell you how to do that. Okay. So 1 second. Make host. I just made you a host. Okay. Just to share your screen and just show me what you're.
Yeah. So here, you think I'm under the normal text file? Maybe that's why.
Okay. So maybe there are multiple ways you can do that. Go to File, and under the new. Okay. So if you are using a different editors, they will work in a different way. Okay. Let me tell you something. Just click escape and write a simple class hello world. Just type it. Class hello world. See, now you're following the standard, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what the point. Now open close brackets. I mean the curly braces. So now double click on the hello world, copy and save it. Control S. Go to any specific location and save the file as hello world.java.
Where did I see?
You kept it in somewhere H,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Java sessions is right. Yeah, pretty good. I think there must be another hello world program inside programs. Okay, so no. You rename the file. Yeah, file name must be class name.java. You already copied, right? Just paste
Oh yeah.
.java. Now save
Do I
it.
have to change the extension here? Or
No. You already provided the .java. You don't need to change it.
Okay.
Just save it. Okay. Do you see the change now? The
Yeah.
class highlighted in different color. See, it depends on the editor. Okay, the one which I'm using is a Sublime.
Uh-huh.
Okay, and the one you're using is Notepad++.
Yeah.
So it will vary. If you're using it, that is something called Edit Plus. So if you're using
I can download whatever you want me to. I don't really
no, it's up to your own convenient.
like okay. I mean, what do you recommend?
I would recommend always Notepad++, which is very heavy, a lightweight component.
Okay.
Okay. So before you write the code, just save the class and then start doing the coding. So it automatically gives the space and everything.
Okay. Makes sense. Okay. I'll stop sharing.
Okay. So you need to make me as a presenter now, or make me as a host.
Oh, okay. There are two. Which one do you want me to? Arun A or the
Arun A. Try Arun A.
Oh, okay. All right, there you go.
Okay, cool. Okay, so you're able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the basic stuff is done. So we have been discussing for 3 days, and now only we came to know that how we can create a class and what is the standard to name a class. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is the one of the most important thing, variables. Okay, so the purpose of a variable to store some data. Okay, just creating a simple class. You remember class is just a simple template. It doesn't have any meaning if it doesn't have any methods in it.
Yeah.
Okay. As we discussed before, human doesn't make any meaningful information, but a person does.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now let's talk about variables. There are very simple explanations for that. So variable is simply holding a value. That's it. Okay. And if you're creating a variable, it has to be contain some type. Okay. Because you need to tell the compiler this variable belongs to this type. Whether it is an integer or a string or a long, or there are different types of variables. Okay. So that is the second most important thing. Third one is the variable name. Okay. The data type is nothing but integer, and the 10 is the value. So what is X? X is a variable name where the memory location actual place.
Okay.
Okay. And there are 3 types of variables are available. The first one is local variable, and second one is instance variable, and third one is static variable. Okay. So let me, before we proceed over there. Okay. So these are types of variables. Before that, what I'm trying to explain, right? Let me create a simple variable. And as I mentioned earlier, there are different types of data types available. For time being, I'm using only integer, but we'll talk about how many data types are available in Java in later point. Okay, maybe it will come after this section. Yeah. How many types of variables there are here? So there are 8 different types of
Hey, give me 1 second.
Okay.
Sorry. Hello. Yeah.
So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to simply create we already have a class, and I'm going to reuse the same class. So this is our hello world, right? So I'm going to remove everything here, and I'm going to keep a simple plain class. It doesn't have anything in it. So we have only the main method, which is executable. Okay. So the way how we can create a variable, that is the first thing we need to understand. Okay. Before that, so we talked about what is the purpose of variable, right? The next thing, we need to know how to create them. Okay. We'll talk about this slide after the next slide. Okay. So this is the syntax. So how you can declare a variable. The first thing, the syntax is data type, and the second is a variable name, and the third one is a value. For example, int x is equal to 10. So int is nothing but it's a data type, right? integer. It's a data type, right?
What does syntax refer to?
Syntax means you can simply say the formula.
The what?
Formula.
Oh, the formula. Okay.
Yeah. The terms and condition, rules and regulation, you can put it the way you want. Normally we'll talk about like in Java, we'll say that the syntax, how to write, that is called as a syntax. Okay. If you made any mistakes in the syntax, the code will not get compiled. Okay. So here, if you take a look at int x is equal to 10, do you understand what is int?
Yeah, the integer.
Yes. What is that? That actually a data type. This is the syntax in the box. You see, data type and space variable name is equal to value. So int is belongs to a data type and x is a variable name and 10 is a value. Okay, this is the syntax, how to create a variable. And next, you remember we have a standards when we creating a class file, right? How to name a class, remember? Similarly, I mean, you remember we just spoke about how to create the standards which needs to be followed when you create a class name. Similarly, wherever you create a name or a variable name, it has to follow the standards. Okay. Here, naming convention for a variable. If you take a look at the first point, no space allowed in variable name. So this particular point is common in class as well, correct? Can you give a space in the class name?
No.
No, you can't. Similarly, you can start with a dollar and underscore symbol, and other special symbols are not allowed. This is also common, right? This is similar to how you can class a name, right? These 2 points, the first 2 points is similar in class also.
Yeah, they are.
Okay. And the most important thing, the third one, variable name starts with a small letter. But in class name, it has to start with the capital letter, right?
I'm sorry, you cut out there. You said the
is someone pinging you in Skype?
No, yeah, I was just reading text there, like somebody pinged. Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is the third point is variable name starts with a small letter, but in class it is capital letter, right?
Yep.
Okay. And as I mentioned earlier, it's not a mandatory, but it's a standard. Okay. So for example, here int first number is equal to 10.
Sure.
Okay. So it is started with the small letter, but the second letter starts with the capital.
Capital.
Okay. So, and in Java, everything is case sensitive. So capital A is a different case and small a is a different value. Okay. What I'm trying to say is this is different and this is different.
Sure.
So now I'm going to say int x is equal to 10.
Sure.
So here, int is a data type and x is my value and 10 is my, x is my variable name where my value will be stored in the memory location. And 10 is in that particular location, what is the value I have, which is nothing but 10. And here I can have something like first number. Since it is a variable, it has to start with a small caps. Okay. And the consecutive following word starts with the capital.
Sure.
Okay.
Does the next letter has to start with it?
Which one?
Does the next, like how you have said the first number, does the second word has to start with the capital, right?
Yes, exactly. Even though it has a multiple words after the first word, everything has to start with a capital letter. Only the first, it will start with a small letter.
Okay.
Okay.
And then why do we have that the semicolon after 10?
Okay. So let's say you have multiple lines. Let's see, and here. Okay. So who will tell the compiler this particular line ends here?
Oh, so the semicolon does it.
The semicolon does the job. The semicolon will tell the compiler, hey, this line ends here. And this line ends here. And this line ends here. And in Java, for each and every statement, it has to be ended with the semicolon. Because if you don't provide the semicolon, it will fail in the compilation itself.
Sure. Does it have to be a space semicolon or doesn't matter?
It doesn't matter. You can provide space also, not a problem.
Oh, okay.
Not a problem. Okay, so now this is the syntax for creating a simple variable. Okay, so data type, and so now we know how to create a variable, right? And we also know how to name a variable. The standards. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you take a look at the slide, the first 3 points almost similar when it comes to a class and a variable. The naming standards. The only thing is the variable name starts with a small letter. That's it. But everything else remains the same.
Yeah.
Okay. Similarly, we will talk about the naming convention for a method also. Okay. But anyway, let me tell you right now itself. So the naming convention for method. So main is a method, right? So how you can name a method, whether it has to be started with a small letter or capital letter. Similarly, because we have rules for class and variables, right? Similarly, we have rules for methods also. So the variables and methods, they have the same rules and condition. But the only thing is, if you see a square bracket, open close bracket, you can identify it is a method. It's not a variable. What I'm trying to say is, let's say I have add, and add, and add. So now you tell me what is add. Is it a class name, method name, or variable name?
Add is a method name.
Method name? Really? Think about it.
No.
So which one?
No. The void. The main is like the method, and then
No. Just ignore all those things. Ignore this. Only concentrate on these 3 things. Okay. I'm asking. I have add, and I have also add, and I have same add here. So just by looking at this,
the third one.
Just by looking at this, can you tell me what is this actually? Is it a class name, or it's a method name, or it's a variable name?
The first one?
Yes, right. The one which I'm highlighting.
Oh, the first one should be the class name.
Exactly, because it is started with the
capital.
And
yeah.
And what do you think is the second one?
Second one could be the variable.
You're right, but what makes you think it's a variable?
Because it starts with a small letter.
Right, and then?
Yeah, and then the last one is the method.
Exactly. The second one is, yes, it is started with a small letter, but that is not the conclusive evidence saying that this is a variable. Okay, there are 2 things you need to see. Yes, you're right. It started with a small letter. At the end, do you see any open brackets, open close?
No.
Brackets? So the open close brackets only available for methods. So the moment you see add here, just see what I'm trying to tell you is, just by looking at something, you should be able to tell that it is a class name, and it is a variable name, and it is a method name. You got my point, right? And this is a variable. This is a variable. And this is obviously this is a method. Okay, because it does have because only method can accept some parameters. Okay, but variables, no. And classes, of course, no. Okay, so now let's clear. So now next thing what we need to talk about, right? There are 3 different types of variables: the local variable, and the instance variable, and the static variable. Okay. So before I explain this, we have to talk about how to create a method and how to call them and how to create an object. These are all pretty basics. Okay. So now let me ask you some questions. So are you clear about how to create a class and how to name them?
Yep.
And are you sure how to create a variable and how to name them?
I'm sure about how to name the variable and how to create a variable. For now, I just know like the integer, like the one we just discussed.
Yes, you don't have to keep it in that way. You can simply say, okay, so now we need to discuss about, we know how to create a variables. Now we need to talk about the different types of variable. Okay. So before we are jumping into that, I'm going to explain you something else as well. So let's say you have a method and let's say you have a variables. Okay. And all we know that how to execute a simple Java file, right? That's what we know, nothing else.
Hey, one question, Ada, though. That forward slash whenever you want to type some notes, like is that why you do the forward slash?
This is like commented line, so which will not taken for the compilation.
Yeah, it's comments, right?
It's a comments. We have a separate section. I mean, we have separate slides for that as well. So how to comment a Java line.
Okay.
I mean, you might be seeing a lot of what to say, something which you're not even aware of it, but which means they will come up anyway. Yeah. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is let me remove these things. So now what I'm gonna explain you. Okay. So far, what do you know? You know how to create a class, and you know how to execute a class file, and you know how to create a variable also. Mm-hmm. Right? So how do you call a method? For example, in my main method, in my hello world program, I have a method called void add, and it is saying it's not saying nothing, it's just simply saying system dot out. So you might be wondering what is system dot out printer, and it is nothing but it is just to print some statements. Okay, so now if I compile the program, it will compile successfully, and let me show you that. I compile my hello world and I'm going to execute my Java hello world. So why there is no output here?
Because there's no return.
There is no statement inside main method because I'm executing a hello world. So if I'm trying to execute, which means this Java file must contain a main method. Yes, it does contain a main method. But do you see anything inside? It's just empty method.
No, it's empty, yeah.
Okay, but now here is the scenario. I want to call this add method. Okay, just be careful here. Okay, this is going to be important one. We're gonna use it for all the time. Okay. Okay. First, we need to understand how to call a method. There are two different ways. First, using object, and second, class. Okay, now tell me, have you ever done anything using a class name before, calling a method or something? You remember?
Yeah, you just did, I think.
Right. So when you call hello, when you execute a hello world method, it automatically adds something in the background. Hello world dot. It will internally call the main method. But this portion we don't need to provide to the compiler because it's automatically taken up based on the class, whether it's executable or non-executable. Okay. Mm-hmm. So now the point is, how can the main method can be called directly using a class name? Because the main method is a static. You remember something yesterday I was mentioning, like if it is a static method, the class can be accessed directly without any object.
Yeah.
Okay. So now let's not talk about that. I want to call this method. So is it a static method? The one which I highlighted, is it a static method?
No.
You don't have to think too much. Okay. The thing is, here is a method and here is another method here. If it is a static method, we must have the keyword called static, right?
Yeah.
And since we don't have a static here, so which means
It's
not
not
a static.
Yeah.
Okay. So then now next thing. So the way we can access the non-static methods using object. Accessing non-static methods. Okay. And using class name, accessing static methods. Okay. So if it is a static method, what do you use? Use a class name or an object name?
Use the class name.
Yes. And if you have an object, you can access the non-static methods.
Mhm.
Okay. And I'll tell you one thing, object is a kind of master key. Because
Okay.
the object, the reason why we are creating object, the object will be created for the class. So if the object is created for the class, it should be able to access everything. So what, for example, you have a flat, okay, and you have multiple rooms, and when you have a master key, you have access to all the rooms. Your object is the master key for everything. Now, let's say how to create an object name in the first place. It is very simple. Class name and any object name or variable name or reference name. It's up to you how you can name it. So class name space obj is equal new class name. This is the syntax. Okay, how to create a class. And then once we did that, how, for example, in the class name, I have a method called welcome. So how I can call it? Object is the key, right? Sorry. Object dot. That's it. This is how you need to create an object for a class and then using the object to call the method. Can you try to do the same thing here? Can you tell me how to do that? I want to create an object here for accessing my add method. So how I can create an object?
Hello world.
Okay.
Space obj equal to new hello world. Yeah.
So this is a variable name, or you can call them as an object reference name, anything. It's a user defined. If you want, you can modify it also. You can modify the AJ, whatever you want.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's keep it as a obj. Now, so how I can call the add method?
So it'll be obj dot add.
Of course, you're right. Okay. So now I know how to access a method. And let's say I have one more method. Static void add. So how I can access this?
We need to use a class.
What is the class here?
Class is add.
No, add is a method.
I'm sorry. Yeah, not add actually.
We have only one class here. What is the class name?
Hello world.
Yeah, that's it. That's the class
Oh
name.
yeah. Okay.
So hello world. Sorry. Hello world. Dot.
Hello world.
I can modify the add one and message from add one method. Hello world dot add one. See, that's it.
Okay.
So if it's a non-static, you can use object to call them. If it is a static, you can use class to call them. So now let's see whether what we did is right or wrong. I'll compile it again and I'm going to execute it right now. So can you see hi from add method and hi from add one method? Right? So which means we are able to call the methods. Okay, now here is the scenario. Here is the tricky part. I said object is a master key for everything because I created the object for my class. So if you created the object for a class, which means this object can access any methods inside the class. Okay, that is a rule. If you have a master key, which means you can access everything, right? It doesn't matter which room it is. So if in that case, I used a hello world.add one, which is I used a class name to call the static method. The question is, can I use the object name to call the static method. Can I do it?
Can you use an object name?
Can I use an object to call a static method?
I don't know. I mean, I think you said.
No, I'll give you the
class
clue.
name.
I'll give you the clue. If you have a master key, you can access any rooms, and object is the master key. So my question is, can you access the static method?
Yes.
Actually, yes, we can. Yeah, because I gave you the answer. It's a master key, man, which means it can access anything. Okay, let me modify that. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna modify it to obj, add one, and here hi from simply say static method. So just to discuss a difference between these two methods. So now I'm gonna compile it again. Is it working or not?
Yes.
Yes, it is working. So which means if you have an object, which means you can access literally everything in the class. You may have 100 methods in your class, but when you have an object, what does that mean? You can access everything, right? Right or wrong?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So now there is another question. Arun, you said if it is a static method, it can be accessed through hello world, the class name, right? And if we have an object for accessing all of them, why do we need to have a class name in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Think about this scenario. When you execute a normal Java file, calling this main method, this is the entry point. Who's calling this main method? Nobody. When we call the main method, do we have any object in our hand? So where we can use the object to call the main method? We don't, right? It is just a simple main method and it contains some hello world. That's it.
Yep.
Okay. So the thing is, if it is a static method, it is advisable to use the class name to call the method. Okay.
Okay.
See, through object you can access. That's not a problem, but there should be a standard. If you want to access them, it is must you have to call using the class name, because the static methods has to be called using a static manner. Static manner, which is nothing but using your class name. That's it. I can show you an example, like what will happen if you, because I'm doing it in the notepad, right? So you won't be able to see what will happen. So let me show you the same in the some Eclipse IDE also. Okay. Then it will tell you some warnings. Okay, I'll show you that. I'll just take 2 more minutes, okay?
Yeah, no problem.
So I'm going to create a simple hello world program here. So I'm going to copy this. Okay, so again. So what do you see here? Can you see some kind of warning message here?
Where?
Can you see some orange color highlighted message? And if you want to know the description, why is an orange message? The orange line numbers. See what it's saying. Can you able to read it?
Yep, I read it. Yeah, it
the
should
static
be accessed in
method.
a static way. Yeah.
Exactly. So how to access using a static way? Of course, using your class name instead of using object name. Just keep an eye on here. The moment I modify from object to my class name, what happened? The warning is gone.
Yeah.
So it is always advisable to call the static members or methods. Members means methods. Members means variable. Methods means your functions. Okay. Whether it is a static variable or a static method, it is advisable to use class name. If it is non-static, we don't have a problem. We have an object anyway. Okay, you understand the point what I'm trying to bring here today, right?
Yep.
Okay, so there are only 2 different kind of methods, static and non-static. Static means it can be accessed through class name.
Class name.
because that is the static manner.
Yeah, the non-static should be access to the object.
So there must be this is a tricky question in the interview. They might be asking you, okay, I have a static method. So what is the best way to access them? What is your answer is going to be?
With the class name.
Okay, they might be asking, why can't you use object name? You can use the object to call the method, right?
Yes.
That is the next question. The moment you say it has to be accessed through the class name because it's a static method, then they'll ask, why? I have an object, why can't I use an object? Then you have to tell them, see, it is always advisable to call a static method using class name because that is where we are following the static manner, because the static methods and members, they belongs to a class and they are not belongs to an object. So that is a new learning here, because I did not say that before. All I said, static members, static methods can be used, accessed using the class, and non-static can be used as an object. Okay. And the reason behind, you might be asking, so why specifically the static methods will be accessed through the class? And why you're not saying that why can't object can still do that, but why we are avoiding that? Because there is a rule behind it. Okay, the static variable and static methods all belongs to class or belongs to an object. You got my point, right? Now you know why we are using the class name to accessing the static variables methods, because they are not belongs to an object. They are belongs to a class. That is the reason it is always advisable to call them using the class name. But still, you can create an object. If you create an object, which means you are holding a master key, still you will be able to access the static methods using object, but that is not advisable. Okay.
Hey AJ, can you make me the host? I want to show you something.
Sure. Anyway, we have done for the day, so let me make you a host. 1 second. I just made you the host.
So I think I forgot the I have to compile everything with the command prompt, right?
So what is happening here? Are you trying to compile it?
Yeah, 1 sec. Let me pull up that. All right. So do you know why that happens?
I can still see your Notepad++. I don't see anything else.
Oh, you don't? Okay, hold on. Let me share the. Okay, there you go. All right. Can you see it now?
I can see your command prompt now. Okay, so you have Java accessible here. Okay, which is cool. What are you trying to do now?
I mean, if now I
Okay. You know what's going on wrong? What's going wrong here?
No.
Okay, so where are you right now?
I'm in the command prompt.
Now you're in US and you're trying to access my machine. So if you want to access my machine, what do you need? You need my IP address, right?
Yeah.
to access that. So now here, your notepad.
Why am I trying to access your machine? Like, isn't that like on my local?
It is. I'm just trying to give you a hypothetical situation.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you're trying to access my machine. So first thing, what do you need? You need an address to access them. Okay. So now what are you trying to add? You're trying to access the hello world.java, right?
Uh-huh.
Do you see what is the address? Which means in that case, the path is the address for you. So where exactly our hello world.java is located?
Sure. Yeah, that's in the H drive.
Yeah, and which drive you are in right now?
C drive.
And will you be able to access them?
No.
No, that's the problem.
Okay.
Now you need to navigate to the H drive.
Do you know how to do that?
There are multiple ways to do that. You want the easiest way or you want the complicated way?
Whatever you think is better.
Okay, and close the command prompt. And go to the H drive. That's the exact location.
All right.
You went to the H location, H drive location.
Yep.
I can still see your notepad plus. Okay, anyway. So you're there in the H drive and Java sessions 4.21.2022, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Inside the folder, how many files you can see?
Inside,
only one file.
I see. One sec.
I can still see notepad plus.
Yeah, just the hello world.java. That's it.
Okay. So you see a lot of empty spaces, right? Empty spaces there in this page, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just hold your shift key and right click somewhere in the white space.
Yeah. Shift key.
Yeah, shift and right click. No, not here.
Oh, like in my. Oh yeah. Okay.
That location.
Open PowerShell.
Exactly. Here. Yes, right.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do that, it automatically launching that command prompt in that particular location itself.
Okay, makes sense now.
Or there are other ways also there. If you want, I can tell you how to do that. Or you're comfortable with this?
Yeah, this is good.
Okay. So still, I don't see the PowerShell. I'm just saying Notepad++.
Yeah, 1 second. I think that's because
you should share it in test and I will close my eyes, man. Don't worry.
How do we do that? Like, how do we share my other screens?
I think you need to stop it and start it again.
Oh no, actually I can do it here.
Are you using dual screen?
Yep. Yeah, okay. Actually I'm using 3 screens.
Yeah, that's right. Okay, so now what do you need to do? Just Java. First you need to compile it, right? Then only you can run it.
Yeah.
You're directly executing it. Just compile them first. Okay, you have access to your compiler. Just compile the program. You need to compile it, not to execute. You're trying to execute it. Use Java compiler, which is Java C.
Yeah, Java C.
And hello world. Just tab it, automatically filled it. Click tab. Now where is that Java? When you compile it, you need to provide the raw file. This is what happens if you're not practicing every day.
Yep, I mean, that's why.
Okay, so now what it is saying, something is wrong. It actually pointing out where is the problem. The first problem, hello world, Java, line number 2. Now go to the program and see what is wrong there. Line number 2. That command prompt explicitly says line number 2, there is some issue. Where exactly showing the error message?
Oh my bad, hold on. Yeah, it's telling me line number 2, public static.
Like you see there is, yes, exactly. Something wrong in there. What is it?
The capital S?
Yes, right. And save it again and compile it again. So now you have 3 errors, right? So now try compile again, see how many errors you're getting it. Just click up arrow. That's it. How many errors you got it now?
2.
So which means one error is gone. So what is the next 2 errors?
System out.
Yes, right. So what is the problem with the system.out?
The capital S maybe?
Yes, right. It's not maybe, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Escape. Yeah. Okay, now save it again and compile them and you'll know. Ta-da. Now execute it.
Oops.
So what's happening here?
I think I forgot to type in Java, right?
You're supposed to execute it. You're trying to compile the class file again, which you're not supposed to do. Just Java hello world. That's it.
Oh yeah, because I pressed the top arrow key
Okay.
and then it came like that.
I got it. And that happens.
Yep.
See, now you know the reason why I'm asking you to use the notepad. Will you make the same mistake again?
No.
Because that is the advantage of using the notepad. Because if you're using any IDEs, right?
Yeah.
The moment you type the code, it will tell you, hey, it's wrong. It's never let you to learn something.
Okay.
Okay. So until learning, it's always better to use some notepad.
Mhm.
Some text editor, plain text editor.